Hello everyone. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Let's put this in forward. And we'll get going. Alright. First the brake test. Good. How you doing? I've been around. I've been doing a couple of videos, doing some flight sim. Little change of pace, but I haven't given up OpenBVE yet. Well, basically, you use streaming software. I use OBS Studios, which is Open Broadcast. And there's a couple others like XSplit. And you set up. There's a way to set up live stream on YouTube. They give you a code, and then when you activate the software, it automatically starts streaming. And of course there's some YouTube settings, like to keep it private if you want, or descriptions and so forth. There's a number of YouTube videos on how to set up OBS, which are good. That's how I set mine up. This is actually Carlos Ortiz's R142. I made the cockpit in the external model functional. Added speedometer, brake gauges, door lights, brake light, and also a route destination sign. Basically from here I can set the route destination from here, and it will change all the signs all around the train. It's not released yet. I have sent the copy to Carlos. Haven't heard back from him yet.
This is a Manhattan-bound T train. The next stop is Church Avenue.
If you look at Carlos Ortiz train, if you go into the external model, which is F2, and position yourself where the cab would be, you'll actually see this cab, but it won't be functional. That's the only difference between what he did and what I made it functional. I'm actually operating it from the external model. Normally your 3D cab has its own animated panel, but I don't like some of the effects that it has. Plus you can't manipulate the signs the way you can with these and a few other things like adding a headlight beam.
This is a Manhattan-bound tool train. The next stop is Wakefield Street. Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Okay. Yes, also? Yeah. What do you trying to, I know you have a small screen here, so things are scrolling, so what do you need help with? Well, OBS is not specifically for OpenBVE. It works with pretty much anything. First, you have to download the software. I would suggest to go onto YouTube and look up OBS Studio tutorials, and it'll show you how to set it up. That's the best way to do it. It's a little bit hard to walk you through it from here.
This is a Manhattan-bound tool train. The next stop is Sterling Street. Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Rosu Rodriguez? Is that how you pronounce it? Well, the difference with OBS and Bandicam is Bandicam is a video capture that you can make recordings from. OBS is something used for streaming, and you could also record a video with it. But Bandicam is more efficient for video recording. Rosu. Is that it? That's one of the benefits of doing it this way. I can actually set it up where it'll be still like a regular thing, but this gives it if for example, if you go into any train, if you go into like the if you go into any, say this train, the R142, and you position yourself in the first car, you'll see it sway. That's basically the same sway that you're seeing here. It's to mimic the train movement along the rails rather than just be solid like. But I think it's a little bit overdone, but it's not bad. And there's one There's one negative artifact to it, is like when you're going over an elevation, it's a little abrupt. But like I said, I could turn that off if I wanted to.
This is President Street.
Yes, Rosu? Oh, thank you.
This is a Manhattan-bound 2 train. The next stop is Franklin Avenue.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
My favorite real train is R142's R146s. I think they're more comfortable, they're smoother riding. I don't live in New York anymore, so I haven't rode the new R160s or so forth. But I sort of like the seating arrangements of the R144s, 46s, and also the 68s. They're reminiscent of the seating arrangements that the older trains used, like the R9s. And if you get one of the window seats, it's a nice view. Especially if you're facing front. Actually, for nostalgia, I like the R9s. I think they have a very classic sound. The brake sounds and the motor sounds. Plus, they used all the old incandescent lights, which made the only time I didn't like riding R9s was in the summer, because they were hot.
This is a Manhattan-bound 2 train. The next stop is Eastern Parkway, Brooklyn Museum.
Yeah.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Well, this one, there already is a two. I don't know where it was released, somewhere on one of the Facebook forums, but didn't have elevated scenery to 241st. So I merged that one with the 5 Uptown 5 one that does have the elevated scenery. I was the one that put that in, and which is what you'll see on this route. But it's not really. There was another one that was released that has the elevated scenery that was used for one of the Facebook runs. That they do every week. But I don't know if that's publicly released or not. Oh, the automatic spam filter must have got him for some reason.
This is a Manhattan-bound 2 train. The next stop is Grand on the Flat.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Some of these sections in Brooklyn, like this one, and also like for the R train, with all these timers, I don't know how they ever make a schedule.
This is a Manhattan-bound 2 train. The next stop is Bourbon Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
That was the 25 mile per hour speed limit, so I don't know why you got 20 mile per hour signals. I'm gonna have to change that.
This is a Manhattan-bound 2 train. The next stop is Atlantic Avenue Barclays Center.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
In what respect?
This is a Manhattan-bound 2 train. The next stop is Nevins Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Well, I think they should take care of them a little better. I mean, I don't know how they are now, but when I used to ride the subway, they were full of graffiti and they were kind of in disrepair. I mean, being that they're abandoned, most of them are sealed off in the tunnels. Like, for example, Brooklyn Bridge, the old Brooklyn Bridge station.
This is a Manhattan-bound 2 train. The next stop is Wakefield Street.
Stand clear of
But as the train goes by them, to see all that graffiti was a little disheartening. The City Hall station in past Brooklyn Bridge, they kept that up pretty well. I've seen some of Fan Rail's videos, and I think DC Hammer did one too, of the 6 train going around the loop. And I think Fan Rail actually, they did a museum trip there. There's a couple of videos of them.
This is a Manhattan-bound 2 train. The next stop is Borough Hall.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Why are they replacing the M? Was the construction? Yeah. Sometimes some of these general order weekend work changes to me don't make any sense. Like, for example, moving the 2 to Dyer Ave a few months ago, moving the 2 to Dyer Avenue on weekends and the 5 on White Plains Road. Why?
This is a Manhattan-bound 2 train. The next stop is Clark Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
I'm surprised they don't send the J up to Broadway Junction, at least. rather than go to Metropolitan. Finally getting out of Brooklyn. And these timers. Well, actually, the timers don't really stop until you get past Chambers.
This is a Manhattan-bound two train. The next stop is Wall Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Okay, we got 35-mile-per-hour limit here. That should have. I gotta fix some of these signals. They should clear at 35, not 30. Yes? No, I don't. Basically, the three sims that I use is OpenBVE. I use Train Simulator 2018, and also Flight Simulator X, FSX.
This is a westbound 2 express train. The next stop is Hastings Street.
OpenBVE is much more realistic, both in physics and in looks, than Roblox. Roblox looks like a fun game, but it's just not something I'd be interested in. Seventh Avenue. You might have. What version of OpenBVE do you have?
This is a Bronx-bound 2 express train. The next stop is Park Place.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Well, this was released, the basic route to 96th Street. Then there was a 241st Street, but that was just basically a skeleton route. Basically what I did was I took that route and merged it with the Uptown 5 from 96th Street. Actually, no, from 149th Street and Grand Concourse. I'm not sure it's officially released yet. I'm not sure I can do it. I have to ask somebody before I do that.
This is Park Place. Transfer is available to A, C, and E trains. The next is available to...
There's some people working on this route, and I don't want to step on their toes. I just did this.
This is a Bronx-bound 2 express train. The next stop is Chambers Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
This is Chambers Street. Transfer is available to the 1 train. This is a Bronx-bound 2 express train. The next stop is 14th Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Okay. This should be a fast run to 34th Street. Yeah, that's probably true.
This is a southbound 2 express train. The next stop is 96th Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Okay, from 96th Street on, I did a little, I did some track work, basically to straighten out the, actually smooth out the curves. Um, that's from the addition of the skeleton route to 241st Street. And then I merged it from 149th Street, Grand Concourse. You'll see the transitions basically. You're never going to understand why there's a slowdown at that point.
This is a Bronxtown 2 express train. The next stop is Central Park North, 110th Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
See, the interlocks that haven't changed because of basically when I did this I didn't know how to. Now I realize all they really are free objects. So I just have to get a set of free objects to fix the interlocks. Here you can see with the smoothed out tracks. I gotta figure out a way to smooth out the walls, but I think I have to identify objects to do that.
express train. The next stop is 116th Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
I don't know why there wasn't an arrival station at that station. An arrival announcement. I'll have to look at that. Actually, I think there is an arrival and it's just so low.
This is a Bronx-bound 2 express train. The next stop is 126th Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Yeah, the announcements at these stations are kind of low, if they're there at all. I'll see what I can do with that for future.
This is a Bronx-bound 2 express train. The next stop is 126th Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Just in time for the elevated section. That's a bad signal there. I gotta figure out why that doesn't change. This one won't either. Oh, there it goes. You gotta go like 4 miles per hour for that signal to change, which is definitely not right. Next stream I'll do a train. That probably won't be tonight.
This is a Bronx-bound 2 express train. The next stop is 149th Street Grand Concourse.
What I'll do is when I'm gonna stream next, I'll schedule a stream so you know when it is. Yeah, the R62 model is a really good one. There's 2 of them now. There's one that Carlos Ortiz made, and one I know Joe Samuels was working on one. I forgot who the original. There's a switch off between the White Plains line and the Lenox line. This is pretty much close to where the merge. I started the merge. I think it was right after this curve is where I started the merge. right here. Right here is where I started the merge. Went pretty seamlessly. No, actually it was right here. Right here is where the merge started. Yeah, that's the jump right there. Now from here on is the same scenery that you'll see in the Uptown 5 to 241st Street.
This is a Wakefield bound 2 train. The next stop is 3rd Avenue, 149th Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Wakefield bound 2 train. The next stop is Jackson Avenue.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
No, I'm on Facebook in the OpenBVE groups, OpenBVE, OBND, and OpenBVE projects groups. No, I don't have Twitter. I don't do too much on social media other than YouTube and the groups on Facebook. And as you can see, this is the same scenery that you'll see on the Uptown 5 trains route. I placed all this, the external scenery. Essentially, this is the same scenery that you'll see on the Downtown 5 in reverse as much as possible. Wasn't always possible, but this way when you run in the 5 train, uptown or downtown, it looks familiar. And yes, I do. But I only use it for groups. I don't really use it for anything else.
This is a Wakefield bound through train. The next stop is Intervale Avenue.
That should actually be a green signal there. I'll have to fix that.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
You see the sudden jumps when it changes elevation. That's the one quirk that this 3D cab has, is it does it quite abruptly, which isn't really realistic. But for now I can live with that. By the way, if you did it the normal way you do a 3D cab, it does exactly the same thing. So
This is a Wakefield bound through train. The next stop is Simpson Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
I used to always like riding the 2 train or the 5 train at Simpson Street, where it comes, especially the downtown side, where it comes around near the building. There's one thing I have to correct on this, is the building in front shouldn't be there. It should be moved further north. There should be a billboard on this curve, and a road that comes directly right under.
This is a Wakefield bound through train. The next stop is Queen Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Whoops. A little bit. We'll skip that station. For some reason my joystick didn't want to move past the beef too. See if it does it again. It's B2. This one looks alright.
This is a Wakefield bound 2 train. The next stop is West Farm Square, East Tremont Avenue.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Ooh, almost a perfect stop.
The next stop is
Almost.
188th Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Yeah, 180th Street. We'll stop and take a external view. That time it went too far.
Wakefield bound.
Okay.
The next stop is Flatbush.
Alright, let's take a look at the outside of the train for a minute. In window mode, it takes a little time for it to transition, so bear with me. In full screen mode, it's like instantaneous. There we go. There we go. As you can see, the route sign changed along with the side signs. It has the proper side signs that matches the display in the cockpit, and the internal destination sign to White Plains Road, Wakefield 241st Street, and whoops, it's one thing, this mouse is very sensitive, and the side map. The 2 and the 5 share the same map. I don't know if they still do, but that's the way it was when this was made. And back to the cab. There we go again with the mouse. Let's straighten that out again. Lock that in. And bring back the thing. Okay. Next stop, Bronx Park East. After I close the doors. Get a little external view of the departure. One thing I'm missing that I have to put in here is the crossover of the Bronx Road Parkway over 180th Street, just north of 180th Street. The southbound side has it, but it's not in here. I gotta figure out how to put that in. I used to live up in the Bronx, up near Nereid Avenue. I really like the one who made the station. I really like the artwork they did on the sides of the station.
This is a Wakefield bound through train. The next stop is Arlington Avenue.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
The external scenery up this way is a little more generic than the south of 180th Street. I believe in real life there's a lot of low-lying buildings, and the apartment building type buildings are behind that.
This is a Wakefield bound through train. The next stop is First Avenue.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
That's pretty much where I used to take it from, back in the 70s.
This is a Wakefield bound through train. The next stop is Gun Hill Road.
Oh, that's...
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
8 train, 3rd Avenue L, used to go right from right below here. It's been out of service since the 1970s. Actually, closer to the 60s.
This is a Wakefield bound 2 train. The next stop is 219th Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Wakefield bound 2 train. The next stop is 226th
Yep.
Street.
Yeah, once we get by all those timers in Brooklyn and Lower Manhattan, it's pretty quick. The one I love is the announcement at 233rd Street that transfer from Metro North. Metro North is 3/4 of a mile away. I can't believe they actually have an announcement for Metro North at that station.
This is a Wakefield bound 2 train. The next stop is 233rd Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
I could just see people schlepping from 233rd Street, White Plains Road, down to Bronx River Road in the snow to get to Metro North. Yeah, right, Metro North.
This is a Wakefield bound 2 train. The next stop is Mary's Avenue.
made the announcements was pronounced Nereid Avenue wrong. It's not Nereid Avenue, it's Nereid. Okay, here we go. 238th Street.
This is a Wakefield-bound through train. The next and last stop is Wakefield, 241st Street.
This has a little longer time in it because it was taken from the 5 train, which was terminated at Nereid Avenue. So the departure time was a little longer. Yep, that's about it. I wouldn't exactly say that's transfer. A valid thing to say is the transfer for it. Transfer to me means it's right down the stairs or something. Not that you have to walk a mile for it. Yeah. And that's a pretty steep hill from 233rd Street to the Metro North Woodlawn Station. So going down isn't too bad, but coming back, not everybody could do that. I mean, if you're young, and of course you would be no problem, but older people and infirmed, that's not a valid transfer point as far as I'm concerned. And here we are. Let's take a look at the outside.
This is the last stop on this train. Everyone, please leave the train. Thank you for riding with MTA New York City Transit.
This is Carlos Ortiz's version of the R142. He's got the cars split. The first 5 cars is Jerome Yard cars, and the next 5 is 241st Street, White Plains Road Yard cars. And we'll set it up to go back the other direction. We'll send it to new lots. And And that concludes today's trip. Any questions before I sign off? Okay, with that, then you have a good night. Everybody else that's on, have a good night also. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Okay. Bye bye.